Hi everyone, it's Lisa, and today on DoodleDrawArt it is Watercolor Wednesday. So what we're going to do today is we're going to paint a space alien scene. So for these aliens, we're going to use a bleed technique. So I'm going to get my brush nice and clean, and then I'm going to pick up just some water. So over here I'm painting with water, and I've put my water in a little bin so that I can keep it straight from my cleaning my brush water. So what I'm going to do is paint a blob. Right here. This is my first alien. This is just sort of a circle shape, and I'm filling it in with water. So now I'm going to grab some paint on my brush, and I'm just going to use a mixture here of green and yellow. So I'll grab some yellow, lighten up my green up here, make a nice mess. Great. Okay, so I have a nice green, and now I'm just going to dab it onto my wet paper, and the paint will go where the water is. So there you see it's just filling in this nice little area with the green color. And now what I'm going to do is clean off my brush, and I'm going to grab some light green, almost yellow, pretty much pure, and I'm gonna make some little dots here. These could be like my aliens' eyeballs. 1, 2, and I'm just gonna pull a nice little line down into the other paint, and this is just gonna give us a bit of a bleed effect. You see that? Haha. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of blue and just touch it here in the center and around the edges a little bit. So when this dries, it's going to be super blended and fun. It's going to do its own thing. And I'm going to make another little guy. I'm just going to make him a friend over here. So this guy is going to be maybe a little shorter, a little wider. Maybe he's going to have some arms that stick out to the side here. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start off with my green. My greeny green here in the middle. I'm going to put some color all through here. Get him started. Where did his arm go? Did I make an arm? Yes, I did. There it is. Sometimes hard to see because it's this water. And it's just a shiny spot on my page, pretty much. Alright, so I got some green on here. Now let's do the same thing we did before, which is bright yellow. Make some little eyeballs up here and pull them down into this main color. And then we'll grab a little blue and add a dab or two here and there and everywhere. And we could even put a little more yellow in both of these guys. So with a clean brush, I'll pick up some more of this yellowy green and just add it in these various little spots. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to work on the ground. So my aliens here, they're on an alien planet, sucking up a little bit of water here. A little too much down at the bottom. You can sometimes do that with your brush. You can use a thirsty brush to remove extra things that you didn't want there. Alright, I'm just going to clean that line up a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is paint the ground. So I'm going to make the ground purple because purple is my favorite color. Have I ever told you that my favorite color is purple? My favorite color is purple. So what I'm doing now is I'm painting with water on my paper to let it know where I want the purple to go. Because this is my alien landscape. It's the ground. And I want it not to blend into my aliens, so I'm going to make sure I leave a little bit, except some did right there. If you're careful and you don't touch the water onto your little guys, then you will keep them separate. The line of water that you're painting here will keep everything separated. So here I'm just wetting my paper, opening up the fibers, and getting ready to add some paint. And it's going to be purple. So let's see here. I've got it just about all wet. Looks good. Not too wet. I'm just going to clean that up a little. Right there. Looks like he's bleeding. Poor guy. That's better. Okay, so here I go. I've got this lovely violet shade on my palette. Vibrant and fun. I'm just going to pull some of this up on here so you can see it better. Great thing about watercolors is you can mix your colors together to make all sorts of interesting shades. So I'm starting off with purple mixed with water, and I'm probably going to end up with a couple of other shades in here too. But what I'll do for now is I'm just going to go around the edges here, putting in my purple, and let's see, I'll put some here behind the sky, and some here behind the sky, and then I put a little mountain there. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick up water and fill in all right. So now I'm just going to go back in and add into my purple. I'm going to add a little bit of blue. So look at that, I just deepened up my color tremendously. So now I'm just going to plop this in and make my alien planet have some purpley sand. Just like that. That's awesome. I just love the way watercolors take in the texture of the fibers in the paper, because it just gives it such life. I mean, I just never know what's going to happen. It's always a bit of a mystery where my paint will go. And the wetter it is, the more it bleeds, and the drier it is, the more it stays in one spot. So you can kind of guess, but it's still a mystery. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is the sky, but I am going to let this dry first. So I'm going to go away for a bit. I'm going to let these colors dry, and then I'm going to come back and do the next. Okay, so I'm back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint the sky quickly with water here and fill in all of this background area with water. Because I'm going to do a really fun technique next, which you might have seen me do before. If you've watched some of my past videos, you may have seen me using a water technique, watercolor technique that also uses salt. It's very fun. It makes a really cool effect. And since these little guys are sitting and looking at the sky together, I'm going to imagine that they are stargazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the sky a really nice deep blue color. I'm going to put this on fairly quickly. Now I can come back in here after and just get a little closer to these guys, but for now I want to make sure that I'm still got wet sky to work with. So I'm going to go right ahead now and just make more noises. Here we go. This is what happens. We're going to use regular old kitchen salt and sprinkle it on the wet paint. And now we get to let it dry. So we shall walk away. Alright, so now that the salt is dry, I'm going to just brush it off of my work. And you'll see that it's given this like almost like frost effect in the sky. Because who knows, these aliens, maybe their sky doesn't have clouds that are puffy. Maybe it has clouds that are frosty. All right, so now we can draw some more details on our dry page. We'll have the ability to put on more tight details. So just trying to choose which brush to work with here. I think I'm going to use this tiny one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use some of this nice purple, and I'm just going to put some purple detailing right down here on this ground area. This is just going to bring in some more edgy, crisper detail because I'm working with paint that's less diluted. And when this dries over top of this layer, you'll be able to see these darker edges, and maybe these are like little craters. Well, now we can start to add some more details in the sky as well. So what you can do is you can do the same thing we're doing here, which is just use the full-on paint color and add some dots in the sky. But just painting here a nice circle. If I can see what I'm doing. Here we go. So just over here, I'm going to have a nice purple planet in the sky. Going on up. Alright, so that'll be floating in the sky over here. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add a few more, just a few more random details, I guess, in the ground here. So this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit more fine detail because it's more, the paper's drier, so it gives us the ability to make our lines more obvious. This being an alien planet, we don't know too much about it. We don't know what the gravity is like here. We don't know. See, these guys look like they're kind of hovering a little bit too, don't they? We don't know what the gravity is like. We don't know what the soil is like. It's obviously purple. This seems like it's a mountain range over here in the distance. I'm going to add a little more purple into the skyline over here. So this is looking good. I'm going to add a little bit more blue in and around my guys here because I did fill in a little bit of blue paint from the sky as it was drying, but I feel like it could use a little bit more color just in through here. So then we're going to let this dry one more time, and I'm going to come back in with my black ink. And I'm going to add some details to all of this. Alright, so I'm back and looks like things are dry. So I've got my little pot of calligraphy ink and a liner brush. And I've said before, and it's still true, you can use a Sharpie to do this. It's way less messy. One reason why I like using ink is that you can vary the thickness of it so much more easily because a brush is more responsive than a pen. And also, well, because I'm painting today, it's nice to keep painting. And another reason is sometimes you can clog up your Sharpie by using it on paint. Alright, so that is it. I have added all of my ink lines to my crazy alien planet. And I think I'm going to call it done. I'm just going to add a few little randoms here and there just to give it a little more interest and detail. The trick is to not do too much. Sometimes less is more. No, almost always it's better to stop before you've done too much. Sometimes less is more. No, almost always it's better to stop before you've done too much. But I think you'll agree that just a little bit of color and a little bit of ink can make a really interesting end result, something that I didn't preconceive. I just sort of came up with it as I went along, so it would be different if I did it again, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I would love it if you would make a comment, tell me what you'd like to see me draw next, or actually tell me what you'd like to see next time I do a Watercolor Wednesday, and that's great. Thanks for watching. Please click like if you liked watching this video, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more. DoodleDrawArt.